we started a podcast. And here we are. We are filming our very first podcast, season 1, episode 1, in the most beautiful Pilates studio in Atlanta, up to Georgia, Kinfolk Pilates. And I can't be more excited. My name is Parker. I'm here with Kimberly Dean and Simone, and we are your official hosts of the So About That podcast. Let's kick it off. Kim, tell us who you are so that you guys can know our background, our story, and our journey.
Thank you, Parker. So my name is Kimberly. First and foremost, I'm a mom of 3 beautiful babies. I have a 4-year-old, I have a 2-year-old, and I have a soon-to-be 1-year-old. Kinfolk Pilates is my 4th baby. We just made 1 year old. And now we have the So About That podcast. And I think that it's time to start to talk a little bit about what our journeys have been like, getting into the wellness space, pivoting from our previous careers, and just all things entrepreneurship, girl talk, I don't know, a ton of other things that might just come up along the way. But extremely happy to be here. Like Parker mentioned, I own a Pilates studio, private boutique Pilates studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And I primarily work with professional athletes and just anyone who's looking to just deep dive into their personal practice and just deepen it. That's a little bit about me.
Miss Simone.
Hi, I'm Simone Charisse. I am a content creator. I'm originally from New York, and I've been here for about 9 years. I am also a Pilates instructor, a new one, and I'm getting into the wellness space. Actually, well, I'm in the wellness space. I am deep in it, okay, and I'm trying to strengthen my relationship with the wellness space and Pilates. I also am an entrepreneur, and I own many businesses, one being a hair brand called Soft Muse Hair, and that's it.
Is that Soft Muse?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
You're wearing it, right?
Yeah.
She's wearing her hair. One of her many businesses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. And you are a Pilates instructor and apprentice where?
At Kinfolk Pilates,
Whoa.
where you should be too.
Yes, awesome. Well, I'm Parker. I am a Pilates instructor in training. I'm currently going through Balanced Body's comprehensively certified program.
Period.
Comprehensively certified program.
Period.
That wasn't planned. That was cute. And I've been in the fitness and wellness space for years. I started out dancing, cheerleading. I cheered in NFL for a few years. Certified personal trainer. I've taught group fitness, one-on-one clients. I love the anatomy, the body. And I've kind of got into Pilates from a very non-traditional way. And we're going to get into all of that deepness. But overall, I'm here learning from Kimberly and Simone and have the goal of being again, Pilates instructor. And yeah, and that is kind of who we are. We'll go a little deeper into, I think we should tell them kind of our journey here.
Okay, so how
here
did
we are
get
now.
here?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
How do we pivot into this?
But wait, do
Yes.
we want to go into that, or do we want to even just start with how do we get to the
hair.
podcast?
Yes.
Okay, well, yes. Because it started off as scattered notes and a thought.
Yes.
But remind me, how did this even become a thought?
I was on a flight.
Okay.
I don't know. I was on a flight and I don't know where I was going. And I was just jotting stuff down. I was reading the Pilates anatomy book you gave me.
Okay.
Because I was prepping for an upcoming course.
Okay.
Right? And I was going through Pilates anatomy. I was like, man, Pilates is just, it's so much. It's so layered. It's so deep. There's just, I felt intimidated because there was so much that I knew I was going to have to learn. And I was like, it would be great if there was another resource about Pilates. And then I was like, well, bitch, then start it. Why don't you be the resource?
You did text us in a group chat.
I texted
Yeah.
you,
And then I was like, I was thinking it.
I literally, and it was a 30-second between our messages.
Yes.
I was like, we should start a podcast. Kim was like, you know what, Parker? Yes. And I was like, and we're shooting it from your studio. It just makes sense. So it started as yes, we should start a podcast about Pilates, but then it was there's so much that stems from that Pilates is our connection, it's the heartbeat of how we got here, but there's so much more that we can give back because of our journey. So that's how we got here, right?
Yeah, and I think that we've had so many impromptu conversations in the studio.
Even with clients.
At dinner, and we kind of just felt like we should have these conversations on a more public
Yeah.
platform. Because I think that what we have to talk about and the things that we have to say
Yeah.
can be helpful for other people.
I agree.
It just added perspective.
Right.
And then I think, like, what better team to do that than us? So.
Exactly. And I think we are the experts at this because we all have such diverse backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories about how we got here and the stories that we still have to tell, the stories that haven't come yet. It's just, I think it's just going to make for a glorious season of girl talk and entrepreneurship and relationships
excited.
and
Yeah.
balance and all of that. So,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I totally agree.
why don't we start with you, Simone? Like, give us your journey, because, I mean, the very first time when I came here and I ran into you, I felt like I saw a celebrity. No,
A lot of clients come in here, they're like, oh my God,
Literally.
YouTube. And I'm like,
because I've been following you for so many years. I was like, I just double tapped on her like earlier tonight. I was like, what is she doing here? So, like, tell us about your journey. I fangirl over you, and now I get to work with you. So fun.
Aw,
But yeah,
I love
tell
you,
us about your
Parker.
journey about getting to here to being a Pilates instructor.
So my journey is all over the place. Actually, I work in Scribble Scrabbles, and then I present a present. That's how everything works.
an outcome.
Yes, everything in my brain works like that. But I actually started off, I graduated in New York from FIT, and I specialized in home product development, and then in the textile industry. And then I got my dream job, which was at a textile design home in Manhattan. And I was like, oh my God, I love it. I'm going to be here forever. And then I saw my first check, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be taking a train forever also. So maybe this might not.
riding this MTA.
Yeah, like, and so my sister, she at the time was like, well, you do good hair. I was doing people's hair on the side, like in my living room.
Is your side hustle?
Yeah, and so she was like, why don't you do a YouTube video and just show your styles? And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then I just randomly did it. And I was telling you earlier, I was just waking up every day to new set of followers. But I started that channel on YouTube just saying, I'm going to be happy with 1 follower, 2 followers, 10,000 and so forth. And so that was my mindset with it. And then I went through a really bad breakup, and I was like, I'm going to move to Georgia. Yep. And I gave my job a 2-month notice. Not a 2-week, but I love them so much.
So loyal.
They were the best job to start with, and then I kind of just took a risk, and I said, I'm gonna give YouTube a year. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and we'll just see what happens. It worked. Here we are 9 years later.
Yeah.
And then I was at a point where I was kind of like not feeling fully fulfilled anymore around like year 8-ish, 7-ish. And then I took a Pilates class, and I think I had like a free class at like a different studio. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And then I went, and I was like, what if I just like became an instructor? I really liked it, but I wasn't sure. And then I went to a class, and then I seen Kimberly, and I was like, oh, a Black girl, a teacher? A pretty Black girl? And so we spoke after that. And then I was like, from New York also? So being New York, and then I think we had a lot in common. And then I kind of just was at home one time. I went back to the Bronx for a little while, just for a weekend or so. And then I was just walking around, getting my steps in, as I always do. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I think the next course to start was that August. And I had thought about it in May. I just missed the New York course that happened the day before. So I was like, I'm going to go in August. And from there, I just took all my courses. And I am now an an apprentice instructor at Kinfolk Pilates. So it was a wild journey from where I started from to here. But I think that's what life is supposed to be about, evolving and reinventing yourself and finding what fulfills you. And so those were all my past life journeys. And this is where I'm at right now.
And also owner of Sunday Olive.
Yes, I do have my own Pilates page, my Instagram page, and I try to post things that are very educational, trying to educate Black women about Pilates, and that anybody can do it. I think people think that you have to look a certain way or be a certain way, and you can be any size. And I think it's just cool to see how even Pilates has evolved and has allowed us to be bigger in this space, and we're continuously making room for it. So that's my journey.
I love that. Yeah.
Can't wait to see where you take it.
Thank you. I'm excited. I don't know where I want to take it, but I'm excited.
Did you ever think like 9 years ago, this like you would be here doing what it is you want, the way you want it, having all this autonomy, creating?
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I always laughed because I had a job for like a week when I moved here, and they had me folding tissue paper.
And you was like,
And
And you probably were the best tissue paper.
I had my tears in the paper. I was literally crying, and my mom was like, "Just don't go back." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm not gonna go back." And from that day on, I demanded payment from campaigns, and that's where the journey really started. So. Yeah, but it was that damn tissue paper.
Yeah.
yeah.
She was like, "You have 400 more." I'm like, "I'm not doing anymore."
Like little Annie, and they're folding for your little fingers,
Yeah.
folding tissue paper. Miss Dean, you tell us how did you get to this being your fourth baby? Kinfolk.
Well, my fourth baby came after I had my first baby, right? And so I had my first baby, and I was really under the mindset of wanting to regain control of what was happening to my body. During pregnancy, over the course of 9 months, you really don't have much control over what naturally God is allowing to happen through you. And so, for a lot of women, their body transforms so drastically in such a short period of time. And having been petite my entire life, that was something that was really challenging to deal with. So I decided to go ahead and start working out with a trainer. And I worked out with this trainer 3 times a week, every week. And I felt like it was so intense that my body needed a way to hug itself in between each session. And I had known about Pilates just from having worked out at the New York Sports Club back in New York. And having tried it a couple of times, but for me, Pilates was super expensive, and I was fresh out of college, and I was like, I will do a couple of these, but I will not subscribe to this.
Yeah.
And then fast forward years later into my adulthood, being able to afford this level of like activity, I started to explore it a little bit more, and fell in love with it. I was like, this is a sustainable method of movement for me. It's really low impact, but it's super deep. It rehabilitated my diastasis recti. It was a safe method of movement during pregnancy, during postpartum. And it's something that I maintain all throughout all of my subsequent pregnancies. And I accredit my body today and its strength and my pelvic floor and my core strength to Pilates. And so I loved Pilates from that. But what I noticed in the Pilates industry at the time, there weren't many of us in that space. And that really bothered me. And so, like, from a client standpoint, from an instructor standpoint, I had never had a Black Pilates instructor up until I became one. I had never really seen a room full of Black women until I started to teach one. And so I had a conversation with my husband, and he was just like, you know, what is something that you would do if money wasn't a factor? If you didn't need it to pay the bills, if you didn't need it to do anything, but just something that you wanted to explore deeper for yourself that would bring you fulfillment. And it took me a couple of months to really think about what that was for me, because up until that point, I had operated off of survivor mode. It was like, what's going to pay me the big bucks? What's going to afford me the lifestyle that I want to live? And all decisions kind of tied back to that. And so I knew I loved Pilates, and Pilates wouldn't go anywhere. I was going to do Pilates for the rest of my life. I love the flexibility that Pilates gave me in terms of, like, you know, just kind of being appointment based. And like I said, it brought me a lot of fulfillment to feel like I could make a difference in this space that where diversity was lacking. So I decided to go ahead and deep dive into getting my certification. Got my certification through Balanced Body, the comprehensive certification. In the process of that, I was doing my teaching training hours at a couple of different studios in Atlanta. And again, it just, if anything, further validated the need for me to create a space with us in mind. All of the spaces I had taught at, all of the spaces I had gone to, and as a client, just some of them that felt elevated just didn't feel like they created the space to service us or with us in mind. And that really bothered me, because we deserve nice things. We can afford nice things. And And so I decided to create it. I wanted it to be a little different from what it currently existed. Right now, there's a ton of group studios in Atlanta. And there weren't many I don't think there were any private practices for Pilates, at least not any that felt elevated, that was created by a Black woman with Black people in mind. And I don't think a lot of people thought that it could be done. And so for me, that was the driving force to create something that emulated that, or that was that, to kind of show the naysayers that it can be done. We can create nice things, and it can be for us. And it can be successful. We don't need to hide behind a mask or a wall or a brand that doesn't want to market to us.
Right. That is not really made for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
Let us in the door, but do you really?
correct.
And
Yeah.
You, and you
You'll
feel
take
that
our money,
energy.
but I've
So
had
loud.
clients come to me. I have clients till this day begging me to open up a group studio, and my answer will remain no, only because I feel like I find so much joy in teaching private practices. I feel like Pilates was never truly designed to be group fitness. It was designed to be a personal practice or a very small group class. If you look back at Joseph Pilates and his studio model, the type of classes he would run, they were never 15, 12,
Yeah.
100 performers in a room. It's very difficult. If you even study the exercises within Pilates, it's dangerous to have that many people doing certain types of exercises. So you're extremely limited if you're an instructor teaching in that capacity, or if you're a client and you're learning in that capacity. At some point, you're going to get to a place in your practice where you're like, I want to go deeper.
Yeah.
And that can only really come from that specialized attention.
Yeah.
And so I had my third baby, and I knew that I would need full autonomy of my schedule and life because I have 3 babies. And so my husband just suggested, go ahead and open up your own studio. It's time. And you have a client, you have a group of people who have expressed to you that they want to work with you, they enjoy working with you. It's also not fair to these people if you bounce from studio to studio. Like, you need to make a home for them. And so that's how Kinfolk came about. I also didn't want it to feel commercial. I wanted people to feel like you are at home. This is an extension of my home. This is an extension of my heart. This is an extension of my soul. And it has translated really well into like the aesthetic of the space.
Yeah.
And how clients feel when they walk in and walk out.
They never want to leave after their session. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they stay a while.
They get real cozy
Yep.
and comfortable, but that's what you want.
That's what I wanted. I didn't want them to feel like they
community.
have to leave. And
Yeah.
we're in the relationship building business. And I think that that's what's
Yeah.
been working really well for me, especially when you start to work with like high net worth individuals. Like, relationship building is important. It's key. It's why they work with you.
Yeah.
So that's how we got here. And then I met y'all.
Hey.
And now we locked in for life. And
Life.
yep.
I know.
Yeah, so now tell everyone how you got here, partner.
Yes, Parker.
Well, I walked in that door.
And people want to know.
Oh, Max. Because we
Yes.
love Max.
We love Max Brown, okay? No, just community. Like, someone seen something in me and saw me putting intention behind what I wanted to do, and
Can we talk about that story real
he
quick?
grew up with Kim.
Okay, so we have a friend named Max, a mutual friend, very random, like who would have thought? And Max one day messaged me on Instagram, and he was like, hey, I have a friend that is a Pilates instructor that would love to connect with you. And I was like, oh, what's her name? I probably know her. He was like, her name is Parker. And I was like, it doesn't ring a bell. I know if she's a Pilates instructor in Atlanta, in Buckhead, I would know her.
And it's black.
And it's black, I would know her or know of her. And he was like, yeah, no, that's her name. I'm like, well, send me her page. Maybe send to me. I'm like, nope, have never seen her. Okay. Go ahead, Max, make the connection. Then I saw that you were teaching at Solid Core, and I was like, oh, Max, she's not a Pilates instructor.
Yes.
That's where I was confused. And he was like, no, but I still want, and I'm like, I would love to connect with her. And then he hounded me for like 3 days.
Because he's so timid with everything. I was like, just do it. Like,
he was like, okay,
We don't ask for forgiveness later. That's my just go.
He was trying to be so calculated. Like, okay, I'm gonna put you guys in a group chat, but let me know, and I'm gonna text you first before I do it. And I'm like, okay, Max. And then I get so caught up. If you know, to know me is to know. I'm terrible with group texts or just text messages in general.
Same.
And so
48-hour response.
Oh, listen, 30 days turnaround time. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and just put us in a group chat. Anyway, fast forward.
Yes, he did it.
He did it.
I came in here. I met with her. So it's so funny. The day that all the days I could come, Simone was here. So Simone was walking out the door, and I'm like, oh my God, celebrity sighting. and then I go in and talk to Kim, and she was just so open and welcoming, and
we're sorors.
So there's that deep rooted connection.
I understood her before she even opened her mouth.
I came in with so much deference. If you know, you know. And I was just like, listen, this is my story. I was working in corporate. I had the best job. Like, I had my dream job, and I was impacted by layoffs. I was working at Microsoft. Never made money like that before. I was like, oh, I'm on top of the world. I went to 8 countries in 1 year. Like, life was great. And then boom, right? It's taken right from me, and it was a little devastating, but I've always played this duality between like the corporate world and then being in the health, fitness, and wellness world. And through my community, my friends, Max, Nia, my family, my sister, everyone, and they were just like, you just need to go all in. Like, you need to be an all-in girl and lean all the way into what feels
so about that.
We'll talk about that.
More to come. That is more to come. But so for the first time, I truly like betted on myself, and I was like, fuck it. Fuck corporate, I'm done. I was going on interview after interview with these very sexy companies. I felt like I had to work at the Netflix and the Apples and would never go anything further. And I was like, I'm gonna go into a space that I know and love. I was teaching at Solid Core for almost 2 years, and if you know Pilates, you know that is not the Pilates that Joseph Pilates created. It is inspired by Joseph Pilates, but it's more of a different type of workout that I would not say the name of. And so I connected with Kim, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I love teaching this workout. I love group fitness. I love the body, but I know I want to go a little deeper into it. And I came in here, I asked to be led into this community, and here I am. And I love your energy. Yes, and I'm like, 5 courses in, learning Pilates. I feel very confident to teach, but it's still, I realize through Pilates, I'm gonna always be a student. I'm always learning. There is so much to do, and that's kind of my journey. So like, I'm an all-in girl. I'm here. I'm so excited to be in this community with you and have this platform to talk about our experiences, our journeys, our stories. And it's the story behind the story, right? And it's very raw. It's gonna be very personal, and we just hope that you join us every episode and stay tuned, because there's so much more to come. But I think, get ready to talk about what are we talking about on
Talking about wellness, entrepreneurship, sisterhood, life,
taking
relationship,
marriage,
the balance or lack thereof.
What does balance mean to you?
Yeah.
Being your main character, going all in, or knowing when you need to be the supporting character. I think that's important too, especially as life starts to get layered with children and partners and all of different things and growing businesses. So we're gonna have some fun things, and we have some surprise guests.
Yes.
Really important,
Some good ones.
Some nice guests that you will enjoy to hear from and learn from. So we just want you to join us. Tune in to So About That. Get ready for these stories, and I think that's it. That's our intro. This is it.
Yeah.